November the 22nd, what a powerful day, and we are just leading into an enormously momentous phase in history on this planet. It's starting to get really wild, so it's hard to catch up with what is happening actually. So today is a super powerful day, the 11th day of the 11th month, 22nd day, 2022. You see it immediately. If you add it up, it's a 2 here, a 6, and another 6. So there's enormous symmetry. This is a beautiful day to recognize where things are going. We are in that last day of the lunar cycle before the 23rd, when the moon is catching up to the sun. That's a late balsamic moon today. And let me just show you the new moon chart here already a little bit prematurely here. This is where we're getting on the 23rd, on Wednesday, and this is where the sun and the moon will meet. So already now, actually, the sun has entered well, as I'm recording this, it's actually still the 21st, but in Universal Time it is the 22nd, and I will publish it tomorrow morning. So this is where the sun is presently, just in the very last part of Scorpio. Tomorrow, when you're listening to this, the sun will be in Sag already. So we are already feeling this excitable energy which is around the corner. So yeah, let's go back here quickly to the Mayan calendar. And this, for those of you who are kind of wondering, I'm often quoting it, that is the address where you can get any day calculated. You just punch in here the date, and then you click reading, and then it shows up here. Here you get it, the date 22nd of November, and then here we have the yellow rhythmic star. We are in this present 13-day cycle of Akbal, which is the night, which is abundance, and also seeing into the dark, into that vastness of space. Abundance is really the most critical word, and it is also an energy which is on one hand private, on the other hand it is very inclusive and generous. The star today, the 22nd, is a day of perfection and of seeing the brilliance and the excellence in what is going on. And then on the 23rd, we have actually a portal day, which will be the new moon. 7 Muluk it will be. Let's just see if we jump here to the next day. Then it shows it here, and yes, we want to continue. This is the new moon then. Red resonant moon. The moon is again a day of coming together, feeling, very, very strong feeling, and giving birth to something new. I seal the process of universal water with the resonant tone of attunement. I'm guided by the power of birth. I'm a galactic activation portal. One of these 52 days. I don't have the grid up here, but yes, you can go to my site if you haven't done that yet. thecosmoswithin.org. Just saying. So let's now get into the astrology. It is really super exciting. The new moon at 1:37 in Sag, at the very beginning of this fire sign, and Jupiter still retrograde when the new moon is exact. 2-3 minutes later, actually, I guess 5 or maybe 7 minutes, somewhere in that range, Jupiter turns direct. Jupiter station in a trine to Sun and Moon in Sagittarius, being Jupiter's own sign of expansion, of adventure, of pushing for truth and freedom. Very big words for Sag. So all of that coming together, also with Venus and Mercury just coming out of a conjunction here, where Antares is, which is a very Martian energy of taking on a challenge and mastering a challenge and what's the word here? I'm searching for an obstacle, mastering an obstacle. That's kind of the energy here. So Mercury being here the leading planet of the personal ones in the Aries dwad, and so this whole configuration, and then naturally this is the Greenwich chart. You have Pluto here conjunct the vertex, super interesting. Pluto being the planet of shedding skins, I would say, and it is the power structures which are shedding skin and have done so for the last 15 years, close to since 2008. That whole transformation of the Capricornian structural energies. It's like the skeleton within our society is rebuilding itself in a whole new way. That's what it feels. This is the culmination now. We're in the last few months with Pluto finishing its job here. Pluto will enter the first time into Aquarius in February 2023, so it is really the final phase here of completing its task. And yes, then you see there's these two guys, Pallas, which is all about understanding patterns. It is kind of bringing Mercury's tools to a greater perfection, you could say, of using methodology and a systematic approach. That is very much Pallas. Kind of even see it in the symbol. It is that edginess of definition, of giving it a clear structure, the insights we are gaining. The black moon here, which has been here closely aligned with Pallas for a while already. Pallas actually is about to turn retrograde and go back over the black moon. So this is a multi-week connection they have, which is in many ways that shadow energy which has been able to disguise itself so well is really seeping to the surface. It can't be held back anymore. That's what it feels. And that whole Jupiter energy actually making a trine aspect here too. So you see, it is kind of a wide trine to Sun and Moon, but it is definitely within range of Neptune and Jupiter here. So overall, this is still within the frequency of a grand trine. And Jupiter and Neptune in many ways are that exaggerated level of complexity and in depth perception, you could say. How deep are you choosing to go with your vision? On which layer you're honing in on? Are you able to see the depth of the different layers? see the multidimensionality we are within. That's all kind of thoughts which come to mind of this big trine. Then this is really I was kind of hoping to show you already a clear example of that, and it definitely is true. This global ascendant for Greenwich, and again it proves how this system works, to use the location of Greenwich as a global fractal. This is President Trump's chart. How about that? Just a few days ago, he was reinstated on Twitter. You probably know that. It's old news. However, today I learned he already has 83 million followers on Twitter. Within a few short days. He is definitely very popular. There's no question, whatever you may think of him. He is a polarizer for sure, and in many ways he has well, I mean, he is really a trickster in the classical sense of the native culture. He is playing this role really well. You can think of him what you want with this last minutes of Leo. He definitely knows his art of performance to perfection, and he definitely at times overplays it with this Pluto here, also in Leo in the 12th house, which kind of means it's coming a little bit out of he doesn't I would say it's arising out of his unconscious, and he's just not able to resist to express that, sometimes a little bit unrefined. Naturally, we know that. See, the Pluto is in the Sagittarian ward of Leo between 10 and 12:30, and he has the moon here in Sag, so the south node with Earth, with the black moon, so he gets the full flavor of the American nation, because this is his home, this is his 4th house. He is truly feeling the way he's expressing himself. In that sense, he is certainly 100% honest. He might be over the top, but he sure is honest, and that's the quality I'm respecting the most about him. I could go on here, but I want to just say now, this is the midpoint. This is the new moon for Palm Beach, right? Same moment we just looked at in the global chart here seconds ago, which shows this symmetry with Trump's chart, means that he is in sync with the global perception of this coming 4 weeks, and naturally this almost like, and that's a great example for that, how even though an event is still in the future, it already pulls whatever it wants to express into its direction, means it already is active in this energy beforehand, as it's kind of things align themselves magnetically, you could say, in a way, or like cymatics. The resonance of that new moon is already in the air, and it kind of creates the bridge, if you want, from where we are coming from. Anyway, this is the new moon for Palm Beach, and super interesting, Mercury and Venus here, Mercury foremost, so his voice is definitely very important right now, whatever he is putting out. That's why 83 million have been jumping on board within a short few days. Then the 10-degree axis is interesting because, as you just remember from what I said, his Pluto is at 10 degrees Leo, so there's a beautiful resonance, and this is here in the collective third house of that coming month for America, most particularly for where he resides right now. And then on top you see the axis here of IC and MC. That is T-squaring Trump's IC-MC axis. You see, it's he's really in the crosshairs of what's going on. His energy is undeniable. So let's now look at the midpoint chart of that moment with Trump's chart, and you see again a 10-degree mark here. So we have the ascendant of the new moon for Mar-a-Lago here at 10 degrees Gemini. We have the midheaven of this midpoint chart at 10 degrees Aries, and Trump's Pluto at 10 degrees Leo. So you get the picture. So he is really having a great influence, you could also say. And then you have the Mars Uranus conjunction here. Sorry, I cannot speak anymore, I'm so excited. Here opposing that 10-degree mark, which we just saw before. You see this, the one which I'm talking about, and here you have Mercury and Venus, and then in this chart you have Mars and Uranus. And then now this is probably the most special placement, as the moon in this midpoint chart, which dates back to 1984. That is the halftime between Trump's birthday 1946 and our present day 2022. The exact arithmetical midpoint, space and time wise both. If you would do the math, do it by hand, you would add the two numbers up of where Mar-a-Lago is, where he lives, and where he was born in New York. So this is the exact number. So this actually is a method which was first introduced by Ronald Davison, an English astrologer, and it works perfectly for relationship charts. That's why I started using it for mundane charts, to see how a certain moment in time is resonating with a particular person or country, nation, whatever you want, you can use. So this is a brilliant technique, and I'm loving it. So anyway, I want to say that midpoint moon, which was back in 1984 at 2122, is pretty dead on Mr. Trump's moon of 2112. So yet here you have another sign. He is really in sync, in synchronicity with what's going on right now. So let's move to Washington DC for a minute. Same moment there. And here you have a SAG rising. Now let me just quickly go back. This was the one for Palm Beach, yes. And this is the one for New York. No, I have the wrong chart here. Sorry, that is my mistake. Okay, that is the December new moon. Okay, I'm already a month ahead. Let me just go back to the one I want to show you. I thought something was off here. Oops, sorry. Okay, we have the new moon for Washington. Here it is. That's the one I wanted to show you. Okay, yeah, something was off there, sorry. So let's go back to the global chart here for a minute. That is Greenwich. Then this one here is Mar-a-Lago. You see the Gemini rising with Leo in the 3rd house. As I said, that kind of brought me back to look a second time. And then we have here the Washington meridian and ascendant. And what you see here now, this is so interesting, with Mars here at 21 degrees 23 minutes retrograde in the 1st house, but really hugging the ascendant. This is super dynamic. This is a chart which demands friction and conflict to come to the surface. And then most interesting is that this is pretty much the exact place where Mars is in the American chart, so which is the one I'm using for the Independence Day. See, Mars 21, 22. It couldn't be much more exact. 21, 23. So within an hour or so of this new moon, also there is the Mars return for the United States, the second one. The first one was when Mars in direct motion went over that degree. Now it turned retrograde by the end of October, that was. And since is tracing back and now hitting that place 21, 22 for the second time. It will then move backwards even further into the 10th degree or so of Gemini. By January 12th it will turn direct again, then eventually in March or so catch up for a 3rd time. So you can't really expect a real completion of the journey before the 3rd Mars return. This just as a little side note. So the story is just now building up and getting really interesting, and this on multiple levels. As we know, it's not just the US, it's now so many different front lines, different stages. If you want, if you were in a big festival, you have many stages, and if you're attending one show you miss all the others. That's kind of how it feels right now, and is quite amazing. So this is the chart for Washington, and now this degree here, that's where the American nation's moon is, at 2712. See, 2712 here in Aquarius. And as we said, Mars 21-22 here, a very, very exposed position to start with here in the American chart. We have TX 300 even more so. TX is loud and bold and wild in a way. It is big, massive. It became really clear, all these adjectives for TX300 during the big trucker convoy in January, February this year in Ottawa. That planet was one of the repeats over and again coming into sight, and here this is a kind of in the American chart, in the natal chart, and then you have the it's just it's really strongly placed. I should move this up a little bit. Come on. Okay. doesn't respond here. Okay, here we go. Because you can't see the full story. Arrokoth and Neptune and the Black Moon here in a T-square to Mars. Yes, it's quite a loaded T-square here. Arrokoth is the saving grace here, which is the ability to see the bigger picture. Eventually, the seed definitely is planted for that. And it's actually in process. Just today I saw that, well, I should quickly share it with you. I might have to look for it for a sec, but it's really remarkable news. Very good news. So I'm just going to my Facebook page here quickly. I want to scroll to that place. This was released by the CDC. Let me just close this for now. This is where Mars will be hidden from sight on December the 7th, December the 8th. You see North America is in its prime target, and Mars, you know, Mars in Gemini, Mars on the American nations ascendant of this month. Here we go. 74.2 million people have not had a single dose of the, and another 157 million have refused a second or third, according to the no one less than the CDC. That information was first revealed in July. And there's an expose article on it, expose-news. I will post that underneath. It's really remarkable. It shows something which nobody would have dared to expect. So many awake people in the United States. It is a saving grace indeed. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Americans. Thank you for holding the ground. We did it everywhere our own way, but definitely as a nation, you outperformed us. Thank you. Anyway, so this is now the midpoint chart between that new moon for Washington and the nation's birth chart. That moment when the intention was set, that's really what the final signature under the Declaration of Independence means. That critical moment of planting a seed, and that moment in relation to this new moon, the midpoint where the two energies meet. I mean, you can't overlook that. Saturn, Pluto, yes, this is the height of the war, of the confrontation, of taming Saturn, transforming Saturn, and structuring Pluto. So this is a painful process in many ways, but it is super important for our times, as this is the only way. It is, we have to go through that fire of transformation. You see the exactness of the prediction this chart gives if you focus on this ascendant, this midpoint ascendant, and this is for 1899, by the way, exactly the midpoint between 1776 and 2022. So if you look at this ascendant and go back to the American nation's base chart, that's where the Black Moon is. So the focus, the limelight is on that shadow. What is to be healed? What is wrong with this world at this point? And then you see here midpoint Earth naturally is here, and Venus is here on the other side. There's a Sun-Venus conjunction just coming up, a superior conjunction which is resetting the tone for a big period of time. This is where the American nation's Arrokoth is, the one I just mentioned, which is able to see the whole picture. And Aries definitely helps this energy to wake up, bring the challenge. 2211, I find it quite interesting too. Everything has a meaning, every little detail can give us the big picture, because everything is contained in everything else. It's really that fractal nature of reality shows up in so many ways. Then last but not least here, I want to show the new moon here for Brasilia, Brazil's capital. As we know, that's really where things are most dynamic right now, I guess. Probably about same, in a different way than what's happening here in North America. Jupiter at midheaven, nice, in the last degree of Pisces here. And again, just reminding you, Jupiter is just minutes away from changing direction. Actually, when Jupiter is changing direction, 7 minutes later, there will be already Aries rising, Aries here in midheaven. So this shows, first of all, that yes, there's some loud noise coming from that area of Earth, something you can't overlook. There is expansion, freedom is the theme there, Jupiter, liberty, being able to breathe, to do what we wish to do, all of that is included. So, and again, Mars rising, because I mean it's pretty much the same area of the world, North America, the East Coast, and Brazil. You see this is 47 west, and I guess Washington is 77, so a little more, but because of the closeness to the equator, this angle here is bigger. Then if we would go back to the Washington chart, you see here that angle is, no, that's not the wrong, okay, and I'm showing you against the wrong one. That's the one where the angle is much wider. So the ascendant is the same almost for both. In North America we have the last degree of these last degrees of Aquarius rising, and in Brazil it's the last degree of Pisces, early Aries. Anyway, I just found that very powerful. Now this is kind of the one chart which accidentally comes in. I will cover that another time. So thanks for joining and listening and sharing the excitement with me of how dynamic the world is all of a sudden, how the positive forces are gaining ground now in a very steady, slow and steady motion. Don't expect big world life-changing events in the next short while, but it's a building up, and certainly the next big date is December the 8th with the Mars occultation, which I guess I gave you here a little preview for. That is where Mars will be hiding behind the moon for a short while, well, an hour or so. Here you have this is the one I wanted to quickly play for you. And okay, this is a nice animation. Okay, here we go. Yes, beautiful. Now if you have a binocular, then it gets even better. And that will be exactly when the moon is full, which is somewhere early in the morning. You can go, this is now the telescopic view if you have a home amateur telescope or so. Spaceweather.com, it was on the 17th of November this was published, and there's a great way here to navigate the space weather page. You can just put in here November 17th and go into the archives, and then this page comes up and you can look at it once more if you wish. Anyway, that is the exciting event of December, for sure one of the most exciting, because at the same time Mars is exactly between, or I should say differently, Earth is exactly between Mars and the Sun. That's what it is. Earth takes over. Earth is faster, overtakes Mars. That's why Mars is so close. And then it takes 22 months for this whole configuration to return. So this is the beginning of a synodic cycle for Mars. And this start of that new cycle will be just 93 minutes past full moon, December 8th, etching this energy in stone to be as the backdrop against which Mars is developing its energies over the next 2 years roughly. Very important moment. Mark it in your calendar and try to be up at night. It will be somewhere in the middle of the night, but it's worth. Okay, anyway, have a wonderful rest of the day wherever you are, and enjoy yourself despite all the difficulties which are thrown our way. It's worth accepting the ball and playing it back accordingly, being clear, honest, direct, without fear. We have that already in our basket. It's just a matter of letting it play out. Okay, thank you. And I, last but not least, I want to add a thank you to all my sponsors on Patreon. The link is below if you would like to add your subscription. Soon, very soon, I will start doing some special content, but you have to be patient. There's still a little bit to go for that. Thanks anyway, and see you soon.